times. 3 categories we've been nominated in the Football Content Awards today. Not 1, not 2, 3. 3 is the magic number. 3 awards, 3 people here this evening. What an exciting time to be alive. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for being here. And for those who voted and supported us, thank you. You've all beautiful, beautiful people. And speaking of beautiful people, it's Sam. Beautiful Sam. How are you this evening?
Man, I'm not doing too bad. It's been a pretty good Monday, actually, as far as Mondays go. As we say, we'll come on to the exciting news, the best treble since '99, as I'm calling it, not that nonsense a couple of years ago. A very nice treble for a Monday morning, which has been wet. Let's be honest, the weather is trash. Mondays aren't great, and I've injured my groin playing tennis, but everything else has made it a very good day. So I'm very good. How are you with your very husky voice this evening?
I am. I'm feeling. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you, Samuel. I feel like shit. But where else would I be on a Monday evening rather than with you all? And the thing is, you got right in there with injuring your groin in tennis. I was going to make some witty retort like, "Oh, Sam has a sore groin. I wouldn't know that happened." And you just pissed all over my straight away. That's gone straight away. So see there's that spoiled now. Rebecca, how are you this evening, Rebecca?
I'm very good, thank you. Good to be back on. Can finally talk about an Everton point.
Oh, I know, a point to prove and a point won. But where have you been these last week? You were like here all the time. We couldn't get rid of you like a dodgy rash, but in a good way, a lovely rash if you can have that. But you're back. Where have you been?
I was on holiday for 2 weeks. Went on a cruise.
Oh, marvelous! Did you do that old Titanic stand at the front and go, "I'm flying whatever, Jack"? No,
I didn't.
Oh, see, you missed out there. But loads of people in the chat already this evening. Let's go through Glenn there. Oh, Glenn, the Sky Blue Hub. Well done on 3 nominations indeed. Muchas gracias. If Arsenal hang on for the win, where would that rank in terms of great Premier League wins? We will get to that. Do not despair. We shall jump onto that. And Graham, good evening to the 3 times. Yes, Simon, good evening, Simon. Thank you for joining us. Spenny fan Chris. There's us. Good evening. And look, they're all saying hello to each other. Isn't that lovely? Hello, everybody. There's Heather. Thank you for joining us, Heather, as well. Spenny fan Chris is keeping us up to date with the Fleetwood Morecambe game. 32nd minute, and it is still 0-0. And I'm just going to split my guts up. And also we've got Treaty in with us as well. Treaty, good evening. Hope everyone is well. She is on time. Look at that, Treaty there, bright and sparky, straight at the goal. And I hope everybody is doing well. Sean, thank you, Sean. Thank you for joining us as well. And dear God, and look, everybody's just saying hello to it. It's just so lovely. It's so lovely. And crying rainbows as well. When she's commenting rude, I'm assuming that could be in reference to could be anything. To be fair, anything.
Could be anything on this podcast.
So, whatever it is, I'm glad you've appreciated it, and thank you for joining us. Indeed, it's a lovely time to be alive. And before we get into the football, let's talk about it. Sam, I'm not going to be able to sustain a sentence for very long. So tell us all about what nominations have we received today and how can people help us?
Wow, so absolutely incredible for us today. So as you may or may not be aware, there are the Football Content Awards, bringing together football content creators and people in that space. We have been nominated for 3 separate categories, which is just unbelievable. We're all kind of still like in that shocked face on Twitter, I think, is like all of us since we've heard the news. But we're absolutely humbled and it's quite emotional actually by it that it's kind of happened for us here. And we thank, first of all, before we go into what we've been nominated for, thank you to everybody, literally like everybody in the chat, everybody who listens to this podcast supports it all the time. It wouldn't be here without you guys. You're absolutely brilliant. And for us to get nominated in, we're Best New Content Creator, Best in Non-League Podcast, and Best in Women's Football as well. So quite broad, which is amazing considering that we've been going just under 2 years. The Women's Football Podcast started in January. This is the second full season of the Lower League Podcast as well. It's been amazing. We've been lucky to have the most amazing team. I think it's fair to say, Josh, that work on this, that we've had many people sort of join. Rebecca being one. Rebecca covering all 3 shows has been fantastic amongst everybody that's on the women's podcast, on the lower podcast, and everybody on the Premier League. And that includes all guests, and anybody we've ever had on has just made it immense. And of course, to the wonderful Josh, the man who's spearheaded this mission that we've been on this crazy thing. And of course, we have to say to the lovely Shark, because she's absolutely wonderful and is essential to what we've been doing here as well. So just thank you to everybody, and support us if you can on this journey. You can vote on the Football Content Awards website. So each of them have a category sort of in the list. Do be aware that the non-league one, we are absolutely lower league, not absolute football podcast. It's absolutely lower league on this. So don't miss it. Don't miss that one. That's a key one as well. We'd love it if you could vote for us. And we're excited, aren't we? We're going to Tottenham to try and win a trophy.
I love the irony of having an awards ceremony at Spurs ground. Is that just their desperation to have people win something there, I think? But it's lovely to host you. But 2 people that Sam obviously did miss out. Thank you to Sam for everything you do. Sam is vital. He is like the spine or other things that are really vital to society. Vital Sam is what I like to call him. So thank you to Sam as well, and to my good lady wife who came up with the name, the graphics, told me, hey Josh, stop being such a lazy sod and do something exciting with yourself. So thank you to him as well. And us in the chat, congrats, thank you indeed. And Spenny Fan Chris, 7 more subscribers on YouTube, and then we hit 1,000. And that's when like the big money starts, and we'll start like splashing in rollers. And I'm only joking. That's not what it's
sparkly jackets for everyone.
yeah, that's what we'll be doing, like big rings, but it's not. But genuinely, thank you everybody for your support. Thank you, team. And Simon, 100% deserved. Isn't that lovely? Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And Graham was saying you could win a trophy at Spurs for Harry Kane. Actually, Harry Kane did win a trophy at Spurs, playing for Bayern Munich. he did. So he did win it there though. So he has beat us there. And Graham, big up Mrs. Josh. Indeed, bless her heart. But football. Let's talk about some football. And gosh, there was nothing we need to talk about, was there? Was there? Hell, we'll start off with yesterday's. Let's get straight into yesterday's game, which I'm sure everybody's got lots of opinions on. I got millions of the buggers. Man City 2, Arsenal 2. Samuel, how did that one make you feel?
I loved it for a change in that game. Normally that game's been absolute tosh in recent times, like as a spectacle, but within 4 minutes, it all kicked off. It was all started straight from kickoff when Rodri went down, didn't he, off the old sort of knock off the kickoff, and you thought, oh, hello, straight off the bat. I mean, nowhere near his head, let's be honest, but, it was a nice start to the game.
I wonder who they are targeting.
straight through. And it was just, it had that big game feel, didn't it? It had that big game feel, and it had that rivalry feel that I don't think these games have had in the past as much, because we've had that era of, let's be honest, it's been Liverpool and City. That's been the top game. And you just feel the momentum of the occasion of what it was. Man City, I thought, first 15 minutes were just dragging Arsenal all over the place. That was City in near top gear, I think. The speed they were playing at, causing trouble left, right and centre. They obviously got the goal with Haaland, but they were just... Arsenal were on the ropes, I thought, that first 15-20. City could have scored again. And then it all kind of changed on the Rodri incident, didn't it? The injury is now looking like he's going to be out for possibly the season, which has massive title implications because of how central he is to that team and how brilliant he's been, still in line for the Ballon d'Or, possibly. To miss Rodri, and we'll come on that later, that could be massive going forward. But in the game in particular as well, it just kind of allowed Arsenal to settle a bit. And then kind of their goal came a bit against the run of play, I think fair to be said. Calafiori, who was possibly not great for the goal, but Calafiori with a great little strike to put Arsenal level. And then, of course, it was a corner. Of course, it was a corner. They've been warned, and they didn't do anything about the first run, so they switched Doku to Kyle Walker, who thought prodding Gabriel in the stomach. Hello. I'm here. Oh, he's gone. Where's he gone? Oh dear, never mind. And they're just so dangerous with that Saka delivery and Gabriel's leap up there. I think you're almost better off putting Haaland on him because Haaland's got a leap. Start Haaland off the pitch and then just have him like where he towers into the air. But it was almost unstoppable. And then suddenly you're thinking, Jesus, Arsenal 2-1 up at the Etihad. This is big. This is big. They just need to hold their composure. They just need not to do anything silly. They just need to get to half-time and settle. Silly. And then Trossard booted the ball away on a yellow card,
silly.
Is kind of similar to an incident a couple of weeks ago where they got sent off for it. And lo and behold, he got sent off for it.
I mean, would he have known, though? I mean, which team was that had a player sent off for kicking the ball away for time wasting, in fairness?
Probably Colwyn Bay or something in the non-league. He wouldn't have seen it. It wasn't high profile.
No, I'm sure. Nobody spoke about it anyway. I'm sure. So you can forgive him for not learning from someone's mistake because I'm sure it was a completely alien incident to him.
It was just silly, wasn't it? It was silly, and
silly.
He knew as soon as he did it because he kind of did the kick and then it kind of half kicked it, didn't he? As if as he was doing it, it was like, oh dear, I know what I've done here. But no choice.
Silly.
Them's the rules, and he had to go.
And to everyone in the chat, we will elaborate. We're just going to let Sam just motion his way through the game.
Just marinating all the contentious decisions to come. So that's half time. You're 2-1 up. Arsenal thinking, well, okay, 10 men. So clearly the plan was El Parque de Bus. The Parque de Bus, and they'll slower the game down. Was clearly the idea. And to be fair, defended the spaces really well, slowed the game down quite a lot, which will come on to. I do enjoy City complaining about that because that's an art they know very well, and actually looked kind of okay. Couple of decent saves from David Raya, who's been exceptional this season. City, I thought Pep was a bit slow, and they had 4 centre backs on for quite a long time in that game. And Jamie Carragher was talking about in commentary, said they kept getting it to Ruben Diaz on the edge of the box, and Foden was in the box, and you're thinking that's where you want Foden and Grealish and the little poppy passes. I don't think they used the width quite well to open up the space that they usually do against Arsenal, but credit to the way Arsenal defended. But they switched off for a moment, didn't they? It almost felt like that save that David Raya made, where they all kind of jumped up to when he caught that corner and they all kind of celebrated, almost felt like they were there, and then switched off from a short corner, and that can happen. And John Stones, who was, I loved his interview afterwards where he said, yeah, Pep said, go and play off Erling Haaland. And the reporter went, is that often a substitute tactic, is it? To say to you as a centre-back, go and play off of Haaland? He's like, yeah, well, I was there.
Yeah. It worked.
It worked. It did the job. So big goal in the end for City, and a bit of a kick in the teeth for Arsenal having defended so well. But yeah, exciting game. I enjoyed it.
One of my favourite comments so far was Graham. Saka was sacrificed at half.
Sacrificed.
Dear, he was sacrificed in ever, indeed. I mean, before we get into the nuts and the bolts of the game, because there's lots of stuff to discuss, lots of nuts and bolts to go through. Rebecca, how did that game make you feel? What did you think of it as a spectacle?
It was a good one. I feel as though certain decisions did kind of ruin the match. I mean, you've got the controversy over whether Doku should have been booked because Trossard was sent off and things like that. But you take them away from it, and it was a very entertaining match. I mean, John Stones equalising in the 98th minute. You just knew City were going to get it. You just didn't know when. So they just yeah, let's leave it till last minute. We'll just go for it then. But yeah, it was an interesting one. I mean, Gabriel on scoring form at the moment, you'd think did at least have someone on him. But yeah, I think there was a lack of homework done on him, but fair play to Arsenal to still be able to hold on. I think they'll be more annoyed that they only got 1 point from it, but there's not much you can do when you're down to 10 men against City.
Yeah, and when you don't actually have the ball for any point during the game, it becomes quite difficult then. I think it was five shots to 33.
I think I saw in one of the stats, it was like 10 minutes into the second half, and I think it was City had 192 passes and Arsenal had 2.
That sounds. I mean, they ended the game 705 passes to 208, and they only had 71% pass accuracy. That 208, so that meant 30%. I mean, my quick maths is like 60 of those 200 passes they splurged all over the place, which is just come on now, and yeah, not looking brilliant really, even from a statistical viewpoint. But we'll get into some of the drama. I mean, if we start at the very beginning, which is a very good place to start, deciding to target Rodri and to hurt a player. I mean, Sam, how are you feeling about the leaving one on a player right at the start? To let him know you were the one we're going to smash around.
Yeah, I get the kind of, I get the first tackle, make the first tackle count, but I think when he's nowhere near the ball, it was just kind of, it was very ice hockey-esque. Do you know what I mean? Like it was one of those that, we've all played an ice hockey game and you're not really playing ice hockey. You're just trying to like knock some bloke up 30 yards from where the puck is. It was a little bit like that. And it was just so quick. Like I wasn't even, it starts the kickoff and you think, oh, I'll watch this in a second, just doing something. And then all you could hear was Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher going, ooh, 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 and you think, oh, Jesus, what's happened here?
Actually, when it's Gary Neville, he's going, ooh, 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 ooh.
There's so many oohs, so many oohs.
It's the fact for me that Havertz just went like, bang. Man at him straight from the start. They were like, there's no ball. There's no ball. What is going on here? And I mean, from a rest perspective, you sort of know that it's going to be an interesting game. And we've got Spenny fan Chris and Graham 2-0 to Fleetwood. Happiness there. Actually, sadness. Happiness. I don't know. But it is. I think it was Morecambe. Was it the Morecambe that they were playing?
Yes. Yeah. Poor Jim.
So yeah, I mean, so they hurt Rodri and took him out. Rebecca, are you a fan of hurting a player to take him out of the game, the old school 1980s ball? Or?
No, it's one of them. If the player's got the ball and you put a tackle in, you're like, right, fair dues, it's part of football. But just targeting that one player, it's like maybe the intent to injure wasn't there. It could have been there, but that's not really how you go about a football match, in my opinion.
So in conclusion, then, if you're going to target a player on the pitch, make sure he's actually involved in the game in some fashion, which I think is very reasonable. I think that's a very acceptable sort of place to go. I mean, around the comparisons we'll make between sort of. No. Let's go in linear order. Kyle Walker complaining about being pulled away for. One of the Arsenal goals. It was a California's goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When the ref said, "Come over here, Kyle," and Kyle did and didn't get back in time. I mean, Sam, do you think he was? It isn't. I got to admit, I almost want to side with him if he wasn't such an ass. But do you think he has a point to make about the ref not letting him get back in time?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a point. I mean, it was a bit of an amble back, but it wasn't like he was walking and it was and the referee needs to kind of be aware of that, I think, because you could see as it did, it allowed the space to be created. And City are all about denying space, aren't they, in those scenarios? So, yeah, I think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake to allow them to take it that quickly. As you say, like, it just doesn't allow you to defend that situation properly. And because had he have been out there because he'd been ambling around or he'd been shouting at one of his own players or doing something or whatever, but the fact that the referee was the one that called him over has to allow him to get back in position to play out from there.
It sort of makes me chuckle, the complaint, because both managers were complaining about the referee, which just made me chuckle because I thought, hey, really, they should both just be going, shh, let's not say anything.
They never talk about the ones they get, though, did they? They never they never talk about the contentious issues that fall on their way.
Well, exactly. I mean, Simon saying, City had players back and Walker should have moved quicker. I mean, he did close down that space quite quickly once he actually opened up the taps and switched his game head on, which I concur. Rebecca, do you concur, or do you think tough nuggies, Kyle?
I'm like in the middle of this one because
Ooh.
move a bit quicker, you get the space. But it is an odd one because, I mean, like, if the ref is talking to someone, then the match is stopped. And I feel as though that's just like what it's always been. Like, you just common sense, like the ref's not watching, you just like you're not playing. But then it's one of them where it was Kyle Walker had gone off, so plays on. But it's an odd one. I don't know. It's like I'll sit on fence for this one.
And in fairness, the ref is only speaking to Kyle Walker because they did something wrong in the first instance. So they need, I don't know. It's a difficult one. Incidentally, in the chat, sad face Jen, because her team are 2-0 down at the moment, but she's come to see my faves. Her faves. It's very fun. Chris saying Walker should have done less walking and more running. Well, yeah, you know. I don't know. I don't know which side of the fence to sit on, so I shall just neatly straddle it. I shall abide astride of the fence there. Graham's calling you out there, Rebecca. Don't get Splinter sat on that fence. You splinter away. How do you know it's not a composite fence panel? Come on now, Graham. But then the next, I think it is Trossard's red card, which a lot of people, I think, in the chat, I'm going to bring up some of the comments that I did see in the chat at some point referring to the Doku. Where was he? So Russ was saying there, Doku gets no cards for kicking the ball away. But whereas Simon said in the sending off was deserved, he was already in a yellow, committed another yellow card offence. But I do think as well, Graham highlights there, Doku didn't kick it away, he's kicking it to where the free kick was meant to be, or in the general direction, because it wasn't specifically it was meant to be, it was in the general vicinity of it was meant to be. First of all, in the comparison, Doku, are we in the, I think for me that's quite straightforward. He was kicking it back to where the ref was saying it's got to be over there, so he went, kicked it back over there. Or do you see it a different way?
Yeah, I think he was kicking it back, but certainly a little bit of knew what he was doing with the same time. They couldn't have taken the free kick from the position that he was in, and he actually has kicked it closer to where it is. So yeah, while potentially maybe that might have been his intention, and accidentally just happened to sort of fall in that way, maybe because that's where the ball was. But I think the issue I see with this is like it's the same with the other one. It's like so and so didn't get a booking. I get consistency in the game is the thing that drives us the most bonkers. But it doesn't change what happened in the second instance. It doesn't change that you can control what you do. You don't suddenly, because someone else goes, that rule doesn't count anymore. We all know it still counts. You might feel it was an issue. The referee didn't feel that, so he didn't give it for that. But the rule still applies to when it happens to you. And there's just this kind of like it's a bit like when siblings fight, and the first thing they do is they go, but she did this, did this earlier, and you're like, yeah, but we're not talking about that right now, are we? We're talking about this incident.
The whataboutery.
Yeah, exactly. The bigger point is that we don't want to see players sent off for things like this. We don't want to see it because it ruins what the spectacle and what a red card should be. However, the rules are the rules, and as it stands, you get sent off. So he's applied the rules, and therefore completely deserves to get sent off. Whether people should be getting sent off for that, it's a bit like should people be getting booked for taking their shirt off? Whether we agree or we don't agree, that's how it sits. That's how they've applied it. And Trossard, I would have known. I mean, why you're punting the ball in the air, is just beyond me anyway. That's just a lack of control.
And the thing that got me a little bit is after he just smashed into the back of Silva, which I actually thought is what he was getting yellow carded for in the first instance, because you could tell that was a bit of a rush of blood to the head, and he slapped in the back of him, and it almost looked like he was not trying to time waste, but frustrated that he got blown for what he knew was a bit of a foul. And as soon as he booted it, where you said he sort of half cut it, then it's like he thought, balls, I shouldn't quite be doing this when I've just clattered a player, and then just hoofed the ball away. It was just silly. It was just silly, and I was going back quickly to the Doku one. What I quite like the irony of when he kicked the ball, it was towards Rice, and Rice went, "Look at the ball going past me." I thought that quite tickled me. That did, but I mean, Rebecca, was Trossard just silly? Was he a silly Billy?
Yeah, it was just silly. I mean, surely they should have been told or learnt by now with what happened last time, but just doesn't seem to be. And it's a stupid one to get sent off for. I mean, like, anyone getting sent off, it is just a bit stupid. But this one, it's like, you don't have to do it. It's not like just it's like a one-on-one chance and a player comes sliding in and you don't concede a goal. Like, sometimes it's taken one for the team, but this one, it was just a case of just leave the ball where it is. Like, if you're annoyed, then scream, shout, yell, but not at the ref, because you can also get booked for that. But it's like, just don't kick the ball away. It's simple.
It is. I mean, and Simon's saying Arsenal should quit moaning and learn and understand the rules better. And Graham pointed out he's got a silly yellow card for his shirt pull before, so it's 2 avoidable yellows. And it's something that I wanted to come on to. I mean, Arsenal now 17 red cards under Arteta in 5 years, I think, which is quite a lot, really. It's quite excessive, and a lot of it's for the same stuff as well. I mean, they're big time wasters. I'm not sure if you saw one of the post-match interviews where Arteta was asked towards the end of the game, is it game management or time wasting? Which side do you think you sit on? Which he didn't want to answer, because I think he knows, really. For me, it looks like he's embedded this into the team. We'll try and play the game a little bit, but the change of rules this year means if you waste more time's added on. So it's and that's why the goal came in like the 98th minute, I think it was, without looking, 98th minute, because that's how long it is. And I think I saw the other thing with Arteta was saying, I saw the ref, the whistle should have already gone. Doesn't matter, minimum of extra time. And you play to the whistle. I mean, Craig said 70 red cards, all wrongly issued too, of course. Here they are. Every single red card that Arsenal have had is because of a referee, or all of the referees. I mean, from 17 red cards in 5 years, 2 this season, so 2 in the first 5 games of the season, both for time wasting. Do you think maybe Arteta should, instead of trying to teach people, about light bulbs and electricity and, drawing lovely, pretty diagrams, do you think maybe he should try and, work on mentality a little bit and sticking to the rules, perhaps?
Yeah, I do think that'll be key, because they can't keep losing players for something like time wasting. And I feel as though the longer matches are going on for, the more that certain managers can start then complaining. So it's like they're causing it to be this long, but they still get annoyed if they get pick up an injury in the 97th minute or something. So it's one of them, they do need to start looking into how they can sort that issue out, because red cards, missing players, whether it's 1 match or 3 matches, it can still be a massive impact on the squad depending on different circumstances. But it's just not needed. I'm surprised when you've been saying time wasting, Pickford hasn't been sent off that many times.
Yeah, and it is for a team as well, and a manager who goes on about, we need to play football. There's a style of playing football. And I love the irony. I mean, I'm not sure if you saw that David Villa had knee braces on, which I'm not surprised. The amount of times he would fall to his knees, catching a ball and going down to his knee. I'm surprised he didn't smash his kneecap in half. And spending Franz Christian in 34, it was 34 seconds is the average time wasted in stoppages every time they go to take a free kick. I think, spending fans in minutes, 34 minutes wasted. God, I hope not. I thought it was seconds in between each stoppage of play.
Crazy.
For 34 minutes, Jesus Christ. I will double check that one. But just off topic, we'll jump off topic a minute for you, Treaty, because we'll do anything for you, Treaty, because you were here on time and you've deserved that. She got off topic. Do you think it was Sabbath Shah who said at this pod a while ago, every time I see California, I think cauliflower? No, I wasn't on that pod. I'm guessing it's Charlotte.
No, it was a cracking.
It was a comment.
It was a comment we had in the chat. Who I think generally didn't know his name, and referred to, haven't Arsenal signed that bloke cauliflower or something over to which
I
watched
that one. I did. I watched that one.
That was a
California.
So he's renowned as Ricardo Cauliflower now today.
Yeah, I like that as well. I mean, Heather's saying in the chat, Arsenal can't moan with the extra time when they score a goal against Bournemouth in the 97th minute off 6 minutes extra time. Graham said we also need to talk this weird phenomenon that players get cramp when they're winning. And it's the same thing as Saka getting limps when he's not playing very well. It's just bizarre. And it was, I think there was a lot of gamesmanship at the end that lost Arsenal the game. But I wanted to get your take on this, which I find quite interesting, in regards to mindset and mentality with Arteta and what he's doing with the players. Because he's a player that spent a lot of his formative years really in the Premier League under David Moyes, who is not a very attack-minded manager. I'm sure you can attest to, but he's very solid and robust, and I like that. Football's a rich tapestry. You can play the game however you want, so I'm all behind that. So most of his formative years as a player was that, and then he was done his coaching and his training at Man City. So it's almost a bit like he's got this foundation, and then he's got this bit that he's built on top, which is his pretty attacking desire. And oddly enough, a comment I read from Ange Postecoglou's book. He has a book apparently with all the successes. I don't mean to be mean, Ange, but what he spoke about was mentality and the messaging with players, and why certain managers, if they're not true to themselves, will never succeed. Because what he says is, if you're telling players you want to play this beautiful, expansive football, but your main mentality is to be tight and defensive, when you're up against then a team which you're going to struggle with, you revert back to type, the thing that you know, the thing that you're confident and where your foundation is, which is that defensive, for Arteta, that defensive, solid play. And he said, and what Postecoglou was saying, that causes a conflict then for the players, and which is why these teams will never really be as successful as they can do, because it's trying to do all of these big, beautiful things. And then, you know, when the proverbial hits the fan and it becomes tough, they revert to this type, and it's conflicting messages. I mean, do you think, I mean, Sam, do you think you see that in Arteta, in that in some games you'll try this beautiful, expansive football, but then when he's up against it, he reverts back to this tight, you know, defensive park of the bus, which everyone was anticipating?
Maybe a little bit. I think yesterday's probably not the greatest example of that, though, because I mean, you're 10 men against Manchester City, you know, who are going to tear a lot of teams apart with that extra man because of how they use the space, how they move that across. They're the worst team to play. Some teams against 10 men, actually, it can help you in some circumstances. City are the worst, I think, for how they use the space. So I don't really think the only thing they possibly could have had is maybe had a little bit more of an outlet to get them out. But again, so difficult with City's retention of the ball. And you can see every time that they kind of got the ball or got in the areas, there was nowhere to go, there's nowhere to find. They're also pacey City players, and there's no, I wouldn't say there's any Arsenal players that are essentially have like maybe got them out that way. So I kind of think yesterday was a needs must. It was a needs must. He had to do that in the situation. And the reality of it is had they have held on at the end, the narrative that would have been pointed today was that would have been a huge statement. If they'd have got through that game to say that they've gone and won at the Etihad for the first time in God knows how long for Manchester City to lose at the Etihad in the Premier League, and to do it with 10 men in the second half, I think it'd have been lauded a lot more than possibly is now, because they faltered just at the end, and no one else has beaten City there. So it kind of shows the challenge they're up against. He's got a phenomenal defensive unit that is working really well together. And has done for the past couple of seasons. I do think, attack-wise, they're not always as free-flowing, I think, as he describes it. I think you're right. But they do have potential. They have it. Obviously, you look at the Tottenham game last week, they were a little bit more pragmatic with that too. So they're not like what we saw with like the Liverpool side when they were challenging City, which was that heavy metal Klopp style. It's a very, very different way of doing it. And I think things like the shithousery, the slowing the game down a bit, I think he's trying to install. He's looking at where can we grab these little bits of advantages to get to where City is. But I think in doing it, he's creating this sort of bubble around his players and what Arsenal do. Because he comes out to the media and he says one thing. And this is always the thing, I think, when people pick stuff in managers' press conferences, they're telling the media what they want to tell the media. Not necessarily what they're telling the players. Sometimes not always what they believe, I think. And he's got a very, very, complainy to the media. He knows what he's kind of doing with some of that, I think. And he knows what his style is, and he knows what they're trying to achieve. And he knows what they were trying to achieve yesterday. And they almost did achieve it. Was it pretty? No. Was it as good as the first half? No. But was it needs must a little bit? I can't think that he could have done much different with what he had out there. You know, bearing in mind they did have no Martin Odegaard either, so they lost a big creative sort of opportunity. You could have still maybe had Odegaard in there. He might have helped you play out a little bit. Then have someone playing a bit higher. Saka wasn't. I don't know if Saka was an injury why he took Saka off. Martinelli actually had a good game because he's been a bit up and down so far this season. So I think they'll be buoyed by that. But time will tell. Ultimately, Arteta knows he has to win a trophy. And I think he's like, I'm going to do that by whatever hook nor crook to do it. And I don't care what anyone thinks about it. Which then means if he fails, they're going to come at him like a ton of bricks. But if he succeeds, he can then point to it. But it's a long way to go. And that point, we're not going to know for a number of months how important or how important that goal in the last second may or may not be. Because particularly Rodri out for Man City, I think massively changes the complexion of the title.
And where you mentioned about Arteta telling the media what he wants them to hear, not necessarily the messaging, it reminds me of an interview Big Sam Allardyce had recently where he was asked about his comment saying I'm just as good as Pep and Klopp. In his defence,
he believes it.
Well, what he said in his defence, he said he remembers speaking with Sir Alex Ferguson once, and Fergie said to him, whenever you're up against it and you're struggling, deflect from the players, take the pressure away from the players. He said, so I thought this will get them talking, and I said this. He didn't say whether he believed it or not, but he said he did it deliberately at Leeds to try to trap people away from the players and get people going, that Allardyce is a fucking maniac.
That was Fergie 101. Poor performance to say something ridiculous or, have a go at the kits or have a go at the fact there's too many seagulls in the sky. Anything to create a headline and take the distraction away.
Exactly. I mean, Spenny fan Chris is asking, is Rodri out for the full season? Allegedly.
It's the rumours, isn't it? I don't think they've fully confirmed, but it doesn't look good, that's for sure.
His ACL is gone. And before we move on from this game, there's two more points we'll touch on. I mean, Guardiola having a little moan and booting a chair afterwards, and so both managers complaining about the referee. I have an issue, and I haven't prepped Rebecca for this one, but Michael Oliver, one of a number of referees in the Premier League that were paid by the owners of Man City to go and manage in their league over in wherever their local league was. Now that for me, that how can that be allowed? Because surely it brings into question integrity aspect. So when you look at now, people are commenting about the integrity of Michael Oliver spoiling the game. Do you think he did spoil the game? And what are your thoughts on whether these referees should be taking money from owners of other clubs to go and manage, go and referee games abroad?
I don't think they should be taking money from clubs. I think if you're going
to... I'll just caveat that it's not officially from the club. It's from the Qatari government or the league, but they're all the same person.
The ones that are linked with the club.
Yeah, just to say so we don't get sued or something. I'm being facetious.
I don't think that they should be taking money from the people that are involved with the clubs, because it does then make you feel uneasy if that ref is to be a part of that match. I mean, if we were against City and we had him and something went against us, then you'd automatically think this doesn't sit right. And I feel as though if refs are to then go abroad and be refs for whichever match it is, it should be done professionally and through the people that it needs to be, not the clubs. And I think that's one thing that it doesn't sit right with anyone, because the refs are the main part of the match. They're the ones that control it. They're the ones that sometimes decisions aren't the greatest, but there's never a reason in your mind where you think, they've only done this because they were paid a couple of months ago. So I feel as though if a ref is to get paid, everything has to be done internally with the governing body of the refs, not the owners of a club.
Because you're not allowed to ref a team that you support, or you might have family members that support that team, but you can get paid by the government, the state that owns this team, to go. The whole thing, it just it raises questions that shouldn't need to be raised. Because let me say though out loud, I do not think there is a conspiracy of referees against any team, I don't think the referees could give less of a shit about which team wins a match. I really don't think they do. And like Sam said earlier, the rules are the rules are the rules. It doesn't matter how they apply them. You know, if you're speeding on the road and you get caught, if you try and go, yeah, but that guy over there was speeding, you didn't book him. It's not a defence. It's not a defence. It's the same thing. You know the rules. Stick to the rules and abide by the rules. I mean, Sam, before we finish it, the last thing I did want to pick up, we mentioned shithousery. Haaland was just on it after the game, lobbing the ball. Was it Gabriel, the back of Gabriel's head or Saliba's head? I couldn't remember which defender. Squaring up, telling everyone to be humble. Wow, you must have enjoyed that. I certainly did, surely.
I think, yeah, you've got to have a bit of, it adds to the needle, it adds to the occasion, a bit of back and forth. It's nice to see. It's all been a bit too nicey. Not, I get Arteta and Pep are like friends and they used to work with each other. And I think even the Liverpool and City games didn't have the same feist. The quality was good, but the feist, and it's just nice to see. Love a bit of needle and a bit of nonsense and a bit of, I mean, everyone's, I know, yeah, was it silly? He chucked the ball at his back of his head. Yeah. Has he rammed his head into the post? No. Should we all just move on from it and go, yeah, a bit naughty, but kind of funny too? Yes. You know, and I mean, you got Arteta as Graham says, kicking a chair as well. # justice for furniture at the Etihad. It's all going off. Yeah, Haaland is a bit of I think he does think he's a bit untouchable, and you can kind of understand why. I mean, he's a man mountain, and I know like we sort of brush over a lot on the podcast. We go, it's Haaland. He scored 10 goals so far this season, 10 goals, which now includes Arsenal as well. Absolutely emphatic, absolute tank. I mean, did anybody think he was going to miss when he was sure on goal there? And let's be honest, Saliba and Gabriel ain't slow, and he was pulling away from them with his run through. Haaland is an absolute beast.
He is a machine. I mean, and that was 40 minutes on a game that Man City were in, which I think covers us for the rest of the season. We haven't spoken about a Man City game yet in the first 5 match days. This is the first one, and I think we have more than done you service. So to the 20 Man City fans, I'm only joking, but to the Man City fans that you're done now, we've covered you, and I'm just exhausted. So let's move on to something happy-ish. Leicester won. Everton won. Happy-ish. You've sort of stopped the rot. You sort of stopped the rot, Rebecca. How did that one make you feel?
I mean, we still went 1-0 up and then conceded, but I mean, at least we didn't go 2-0 up. All I can say is, Everton, you have ruined 2-0s for me. I was at Aki on the Saturday. We went 2-0 up. I'm there, petrified. I mean, we did draw 2-2. So they did do a bit of an Everton, but you ruined 2-0s for me. Until I see Everton win 2-0, that's it. I panic every time. But no. First point of the season. I mean, we'll take a point. It's better than what we have had. It is just annoying yet again to drop points from a winning position. But there were quite a few factors that came into play with this match, including the weather. Thought they were going to have to swim at one point with how bad the rain was.
Was it that game with... Oh, no, it was a Swansea game where they pulled everyone off the pitch for 7 minutes, wasn't it? I didn't think you were heading that way, though.
Yeah, because we were listening to the commentary of it, and then they're saying, oh, there's the lightning again. I'm like, oh, they stopped playing. But yeah, I mean, great goal from Illiman and Dye. He is an incredible signing for us so far. A lot are describing him as our new Richarlison because he's been able to get the fans back on board, and he's playing really well for us. I mean, I think anyone could look good at Everton at the moment with how iffy we've been, but it was a great goal from him, assisted by Ashley Young, which we'll get onto him after. No, Jesper Lindstrom, he puts in the effort. He does everything he can, but this man cannot score. Incredible cross, just went over Calvert-Lewin's head. He just had to tap it home. It went past the post. And it was the same when we played Southampton. He does everything. He's in the right place. He gets the ball into the box. He does what he needs to. But when it's his time to shoot, it's like he gets too excited. He's like, oh, I'm going to score my first Everton goal. And then that's it. You don't see him again. That's it. But Calvert-Lewin did nearly make it 2-0. He had like a one-on-one chance with the keeper, but it was straight to him. I feel as though him and Lindstrom, one goal is all it's going to take for them to be able to regain the confidence and hopefully get back scoring, because we are missing that up front. I mean, this season has been different for us in terms of it's our defence that's the issue. We've been able to score, we just can't hold on to it, but we're now starting to lack a bit when it comes to scoring. But set piece again to concede from, a scramble in the box, it's not great. The defence, we need sorting, whether we bring on Jake O'Brien instead of Michael Keane to see how him and Tarkowski will get on. We don't have a left back at the moment because Mikalenko's out ill. So I think for Leicester, we had Ashley Young as left back and James Garner as right back. So we've got like a big mixed match team at the moment.
How old is Gardner? Because I've got a feeling he's old as well, isn't he?
Jimmy Garner.
No, he must be mid, because you bought him from us, didn't you?
We got him from United.
Young 20s, mid-20s, maybe 25, 26.
There's someone else. I
Like
think
22 maybe.
I was just thinking, Christ, that must be a bit of a contrast then, with like the 70-year-old on the one side, then and you've got this kid on the other.
I'd be worried if you played Coleman and Young on both sides, because there'd be the combined age of like 95, wouldn't they, as your fullbacks?
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, that would be quite scary. But we did at one point start playing Ashley Young like a bit higher up in midfield, so it could just be the whole right side if you add them up. It'd be scary numbers, but a point will take, again, annoying to let one in late like we did, but there are still a lot of cause for concerns in terms of Daesh has lost a lot of the fan base, and it is clear with that. I mean, the boos that rung round Goodison on Tuesday against Southampton, when this is my question, why would you take off Beto, a striker, and bring on Ashley Young? And then it was very similar to the Leicester match in terms of Iliman and Dye was our strongest player. Incredible, didn't look like he was tiring at all, and he subbed him. But you had Doucouré and Mangala who were really struggling in midfield, and we did have Timmy Rabuman to come on. So there are a lot of questions around his subs and also the way we're playing, because this isn't Everton. We've got players we've bought that are on the bench, which it shouldn't be the case. Timmy Rabuman should be starting. It's time to bench Michael Keane. As much as he tries, it's not working for us. And hopefully this point will be the kick that they need to get moving. But I do think there's a lot more that needs to be changed.
But you know what? It's not just a point. It's not just a point, because today it looks like you're going to have a new takeover. The owners of Roma, I believe, American group, what they call Friedrich? I can't remember now. I didn't know. There you go. They're announcing today they're taking over custodianship of Everton Football Club. That must make you feel happy. A point and new owners. Happy birthday.
Yeah, this one has been a long one in the making. I mean, I've been on the podcast a lot going on about my rants about Everton and the ownership and no clarity for fans, but we finally seem to be getting somewhere. It's just all subject to approval from Premier League, the FA, and all of the governing bodies that it needs to go through. But they had agreed a deal back in June to take over, but that one fell through in July because of all of the situations that 777 were in and the money that they'd already put into Everton. But the Friedkin Group did this exact same thing when they were buying Roma. They came in, there was a bit of an issue, and then they pulled back out, waited a few months and came back in, and they got Roma for, I think it was a bit cheaper. So thankfully, that is what they've done this time, because we did have 3 potential buyers in terms of the Freaking Group, 777, and then there was John Texter.
Oh, is the guy who owns 45% of Crystal Palace as well?
Yeah.
How would that even work?
He would have had to have been forced to sell his 45% shares of Palace to then be able to. I think it was a case of it was only he'd be able to then look into getting Everton. Like, it wasn't going to be a case of you sell Palace, you get us. So there could have been like quite a bit of unrest around that if he was to sell up and then not get Everton. So I feel as though the safest option has been done, which is the Freaking Group. But I'm excited for this one. Of course, you're always going to feel a bit of nerves because it's something new. It's new investor. We know the money troubles that Everton have had and the punishments that we've received from it, with the 2-point deductions last season and the potential one for this season, which still don't know if that's going to come about now with the new owner. But they have come to an agreement with a long-standing lender called RMF, I think it is. And they are going to help Everton pay back, I think it's 225 million, which is a loan that we've had. So that will get cleared. And then we do have, our money issues are very public, and it has been seen in the lack of squad depth that we've got now, to the point where, against Southampton, we had 6 of our under-21s having to make an appearance in the squad because we just don't have the money to be able to buy players or get any like cover for certain positions. So it's like Mikalenko is our only left back at the club. So him out ill, that's it, we're done. And then we had Calvert-Lewin out. We had, I think, Jimmy Garner. Majority of like the first.
Who's your defender's out? The one that United were linked with. Is he still out?
Yeah.
Oh.
He played for our under-21s on Sunday, I think it was, against Sunderland. We won 4-3. And I think it was 4-3. Or was it 3-2? One of the two. And goal line clearance from Jared. So that's looking positive that he's coming back. But that's when we had 6 of the under-21s. The under-21s were playing Stockport that night. So it was a really unfair one where we've got 6 of their best players, 4 of which are on the bench, and they're left to get beat 4-1 at Stockport in the Bristol Street Motors Cup? I always got to call it Pizza Trophy, but it's not that now. So hopefully with this, we'll be able to regroup, get the money we need, sort out all of the loans, the issues, and then repurchase players that we need in January just to keep it going. But we've also noticed that they know what they want, do the Freaking Group, in terms of management. And it's been seen with Roma, where I think it was 4 matches in and they sacked a manager. So
I was going to say, on the manager front, they've got good links too. Old Jose.
We've also been linked with Gareth Southgate.
Ooh, no, that's for United. Don't take him.
Take him off the market, please.
Graham Potter.
I wouldn't mind that. I think if you got Potter, I'd be. Yeah,
he looks good in blue. He would be keeping that blue theme. Brighton, Chelsea, and over to you.
Yeah, hopefully with this, it'll mean a bit more positivity coming Everton's way, whether that is with or without Dash.
And I think my understanding is they believe obviously it's got to go through all the checks and all of that jazz. So it's probably early November by the time it's all gone through, which means they're in place in time for the January transfer window.
Yeah.
So it could be well. And then Treaty in the chat. She's just honestly, she's not lying. She's being honest. She just wants Everton to do well for Rebecca. That's it.
I think we're all in it. We're all in the group chat, and as soon as the Everton go, you can just hear this collective around the podcast go,
Rebecca. No. The same, because Treaty was telling me she thinks Everton are an awful club. Oh, she hates them. But for you, I'm only joking. I'm not telling the truth at all. Treaty's too lovely for that. But she did one, and do I want them to do well? I don't want them to do bad for Rebecca. I'm not going to say I want them to do well. I don't want you to do bad. Just for you, Rebecca. That's it. Otherwise, take up the equation. I'm not bothered. But it was a good weekend-ish, all round for Everton. I mean, if we want to go to another ish game, because we've been here for a long time, and I'm on the wane, but we cannot go without covering I was going to say mighty Reds, but that's Liverpool, isn't it? Those Red Devils who played the boring Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace 0, Man United 0. Sam, how did that one make you feel?
Yeah, I know Graham's going to be cross because it's a 0-0, but yeah, we'll give it a quick bit of coverage. Yeah, actually, one of those frustrating ones where we deserved to win. We dominated the game, particularly in that first half. We were really good. What I've been asking for, I haven't even watched the podcast, but I've been saying I just want some control and a way of playing, and I make my own rules, Graham. That's what's happening here. I actually thought they played with control. They dominated the ball. Eriksen was fantastic. When you can get Eriksen on the ball, just such a quality, talented football player, it's the whole legs and the running around bit when you haven't got the ball, which is a big issue. We didn't have it. Palace were poor, really wasteful. They look to have taken a step back under Glasner this season. They've got a lot that their defence needs to kind of gel again. But we should have been ahead. Should have been a couple of goals ahead in the first half. Not quite clinical enough. But it's hard to be too. Apart from just being frustrated, we didn't win. Considering we got battered there last season, the performance was a bit more what I wanted to see. It was more consistent. We were creating chances. Xerxes linking the play was excellent. There were some really good things. Bruno was quite wasteful. And the substitutes made no impact. That was the thing. I think Ten Hag was excellent tactically how he set up from the start, but the substitutes just were wrong. Just completely changed the game in the wrong way. And we then struggled to create. And there was a couple of moments where Palace could have ended up nicking it. I mean, if you thought Raya's save was good, double save last week, Onana's double save for me was fantastic. You know, he gets a lot of stick, but actually he's had a really good week. That's, he's had 3 clean sheets, well, 2 clean sheets in the cup, but fantastic penalty save. Yeah, Graham's right. Substitutes did make us worse. We lost that threat, and yeah, it was disappointing. Garnacho was excellent, really intelligent playing on the left-hand side, which puts extra pressure on Rashford, who's had a good week himself. And then there was all this nonsense about him being left out, and there must have been something that happened. You're like, he's just rotating the squad. It's just, which is the problem with Rashford. We play him every week, and maybe that might help.
Did think that was the irony. Is people were saying for ages Rashford needs a bit of a rest. He needs a bit of a rest, and then you rest him, and people go, "Why the hell did you rest Rashford?"
Something must have happened. He must have called Ten Hag a Willie. He's been left on the bench. Like, no, he's just rotating. And Garnacho was really good in the last game, and Diallo's been good, so they deserve the chance to start. And yeah, we've got some players coming back, so we're starting to see. There was Højlund came on. He's rusty, but it gives us a different option up front. Mount's back again. How long for? We'll see. Hopefully a bit longer than last time. And I think there've been some players. Dalot was excellent in inverted fullback. Mazraoui. I'm loving Mazraoui. Mazraoui. Oh, what a signing he's been so far at 12 million. Absolute steal. Loving Mazraoui. But
I like just saying his name. Mazraoui. I mean, I was going to say, you mentioned the substitutes. And it's a thing for me. I'm at the point where if I was a United fan, I would be seriously questioning if the manager's the right guy for the job, because he's done a couple of seasons. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 full seasons.
Yeah, this is his 3rd season, isn't it?
And I sort of think I can't see how anybody can say, oh, he hasn't got his players in, because he's spent money like it's been going out of fashion. So he's brought loads of players in. And I sort of think when I watch some of the subs he makes, like you said, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, are you still backing him, and do you think he still needs time? We're just going to keep giving time, or are you at the point where you're beginning to sort of judge him a bit more now?
There's definitely more judging. I think this season is definitely the judging, considering that what we know would have happened at the end of last season. I think a lot of United fans are in that space. There are a lot of fans that have already moved to out and will, whatever he does, if he sneezes in the wrong direction, then he's a disaster. But I think I try and remain objective with how he's doing. And I think, substitutes-wise, needs to be better. No doubt about it. there were some good things he did well at the weekend, but again, to change the game, and that's something Rashford up front, he barely touched the ball, completely different player to Xerxes, and just that midfield. Eriksen, I love Bruno. Bruno's been fantastic, and without him, God knows where we'd have been in the past few years. He wasn't having a great game, and Christian Eriksen was. Christian Eriksen was brilliant on the ball, making the right decisions, playing wonderful stuff. Maybe you can there's this, you can't take certain players off. Well, you can if it suits what it is you need to do. And I do think I think we all kind of feel we're on this treadmill that we know where it ends. But I just want United to make progress, and I want them to. Every result with United is either got to be brilliant or terrible. And actually, this weekend's was not bad. And everyone's like, oh, God, 0-0 at Palace. And you're like, we got battered there 4-0 last season. You know, Palace
are a pig to play.
It can be a pain in the arse. We're always at Selhurst Park. It's difficult. You know, they drew with Chelsea a couple of games ago, didn't even get a mention. But if United don't win every single game, it's like it's a disaster. So generally, Ten Hag, I'm questioning. But at the weekend, apart from the substitutes, I think we've got to see that as hopefully progress. Big game against Tottenham at the weekend. Big game against Tottenham.
I mean, Treaty agrees with you. It's like a roller coaster supporting Man United.
It is a stressful roller coaster.
It is. Yeah. It's a roller coaster. Just gotta ride it. Yeah. So don't fight it. I got all the rest of the words. Rebecca's going like, "What the hell's going on?" The song. You were probably about 10. It was really good. You're probably younger than that. Good God. How old do you reckon that is? By Ronan Keating. Do you know who Ronan Keating is?
That's it. Isn't that even in that's his solo career? That's post Boyzone.
Did you just shake your head and say she doesn't know who Ronan Keating is?
Becca.
What the bloody hell is going on? We need a stronger vetting process for this podcast. I tell you what.
We'll get Shah to send you a Boyzone album stat. Like there we go.
I'm pretty sure.
I just
singer from Boyzone. I think
I just don't know names.
I think it was like I think it was for the movie Notting Hill. I think it was in.
I think he did the song.
Yeah,
for that,
2004.
You were born in 2004.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. My daughter was only born a couple of years after you. Good Lord.
Didn't miss his sultry Irish tones. No matter where they call us.
I think that's a farmer then. No matter where they go.
No matter where they go.
Oh, to be sure. And Sean dropping in, imagine if a Matt Wowie played for Warwick. That's he's got he's got clothes older than Rebecca. That's shocking. Honestly, you need to you've thrown me completely as well. Oh yeah, I know what I wanted to talk about. Martinez, Sam. What was that? I mean, the only thing I could... It was like one of those things. It reminds me of when you're at a birthday party and the mum goes to the kids, can you burst them balloons, please? That's what they do. 2 foot, they jump and go, and jump on them and go, woo! If he landed on the ball, he would have probably bounced off and twisted and sprained his ankle, ended up like in the stand. If he got the player, he was messing his shit up. What was he doing, Sam?
I really don't know, because it wasn't that kind of game. There hadn't really been any of that needle in it or kind of a bit of feist, and as you sort of like done it, but completely
it's a crane kick.
Like, I've absolutely I just, how do you can't defend it, and he was so lucky. So he connects with any of it. He's blatantly getting sent off. I never understand with 2-footed tackles, because it's just not natural. Like I like, how do you tackle like that? Like without feeling that you're going to absolutely break your own legs? Like it's just bizarre. And
when he was up, like it was like Batman. Do you know when Batman jumps off a building and comes down 2-footed to like double kick the bloke in the chest?
Karate-esque.
That's what he was doing. I thought you've got this like little dwarf running around the pitch, jumping around, going, "Wah!"
It was so bizarre, and I love Martinez, and I think he's very good for the dressing room. And he's. But I hope someone's kind of either he's realised afterwards that that's not okay, or someone's had a word and said, "Look, come on, like that could have cost us." At that point, we were well on top, and it was just a nonsense scenario like that. So just awful.
It made me giggle. I was like, that is just the wildest stuff I've ever seen. I've got to be saying, it was such a bad tackle, even missed the ball, but it's a goal, Morecambe.
It's goal for Morecambe.
I'm guessing it's probably like the 70th minute. That's what I'm guessing. Probably 73rd. I want to say 73rd minute. Spenny Fanquist. Check me on the timing.
It can happen. We know that teams can come from 2-0 down, don't we, Rebecca? We know it's possible.
We'd have to know Saturday with Aki.
75th! Look at that! I was 2 minutes in. I tell you what, mad skills. The man's got mad skills. But I think I'm just looking through games that are worth. What I did, obviously, well done, Liverpool. Just bouncing back from that terrible defeat in the last match day to when Rebecca actually reminded me of Rebecca said about your striker. Is his last name beginning with L? I forgot. Lombardi.
Lindstrom. What
are you saying? He's like, when he gets in front of the goal, he's like, oh, it's got a goal. Nunes. That's what it reminded me of. Tap-ins. He's like, and blatting everywhere. But a ridiculously difficult, sexy-looking goal. He's like, yeah, all about this. Slide it in. It's just beautiful. What was going on there? To say, I know he's a United fan and Everton fan. Does anybody want to delight in just the amazing goals that Liverpool scored? Diaz is like, I'm going to score all of the goals possible. I think he made 85 million runs and 74 shots. Praise Diaz, somebody.
To be fair, Diaz was everywhere because he had two massive chances before the first goal, and I liked the first goal because Konate's in my dream team, and to get an assist off a punt upfield, I was absolutely loving. God knows where Kepa was, but Diaz read the situation, and that second goal I thought was really good. It was that was more slot style of kind of quick running, quick ball up, touch off, bang. Wait for the moment, and Trent coming forward at you with three options is a disaster for a defence. But to be fair, Liverpool played really well. They've still got to be a little bit more clinical, I think. There's a lot of missed chances, but they created so many, it didn't matter in the end. And as we said before, how to describe Darwin Núñez, I think they'd have a field day, I think, in terms of his mentality in front of goal, because he does things like that, and then, as you said, he'll be 2 yards out in a critical moment of a game, and God knows what goes through his head. But I think for him, his confidence is his first goal since April in the Premier League. So it looked like it meant a lot to him. Looked like it meant a lot. So he's because he's under pressure. He needs to perform here, because I think a lot of Liverpool fans towards the end of last season, some of which are starting to turn, going, this isn't going to be the guy that's going to get us to win a Premier League title. And some just love him because he's a crazy bastard.
It was funny. Arnie Slot, after the game, they asked him about it. They said, when I saw him taking the shot from there, I was thinking, oh God, why are you doing this? And then he said when he scored, I thought, oh, you must be a better player than I was then. You just can't tell. I just can't figure the guy. And Heather in the chat doesn't want to talk about the game if it's all the same. But
to be fair, though, I think for Bournemouth, I think the parts actually played quite well, and they showed some threat. They've had a rough ride at Anfield in recent seasons. I think that's 6 on the bounce they've lost there. They obviously had the horrendous one a couple of seasons ago. It's not been. They did beat you, I think, at home. The others, was it last season they won at home? But at Anfield they've had a tough time, and they've been playing well, I think, this season. I think they've got a couple of decent games coming up as well, and they've looked good. And Iraola unfortunately got himself a touchline ban with this today, because he was complaining about the offside, and they thought he was complaining about a booking. So he's got his third booking of the season. So he's getting the touchline ban against Ipswich, which three bookings in 5 games is pretty impressive to get. But he's complaining about that one. So I think Bournemouth are looking pretty good, and I think they've got a couple of decent games which will show it. So
yeah. And I agree. I would say for Heather, you won't be playing a team as wonderful as Liverpool every week. We are the creme de month, as Telboy would say. But you've got the 3 top teams, and I think Bournemouth, I actually think are making a good account of themselves this season. I really think they've shown so much growth over the last 2 years, when they're normally you always thought of it, and I don't mean it to be as it sounds, but you always think sort of Bournemouth is like this little team that battles away, and they're like the little engine that could trying hard. They're not that. Now they're actually playing some really nice football and looking quite dangerous.
I think as well with Iraola is that we were saying about Ten Hag, I think he's really good with his substitutes as well. I think he's quite shrewd when he brings on and options he brings on. Bournemouth are quite threatening later on in games with changes made. I mean, I don't want to go back to the Everton one with Becca, but he made some bit more changes in that game. And I think Semenyo's been good. Sinistera, Tavernier, they've looked really good. They've got lots of options, and their striker hasn't really got going yet either. If he can start hitting some form, then I think Bournemouth will be. I think they've got a good shot at top half. I think they really do.
I mean, there's 2 more events that I sort of wanted to cover. I mean, there's 3 really, but we just haven't got time because I think I'm going to die otherwise. But I mean, Sean mentioned the Forest Brighton match. I don't know if did either of you see that with manager. Well, what I did struggle with, I did say. By the way, I did miss Big Dan joining us. Good evening. Big love holler to the terrific triple team. Bless him. God bless him. And we miss you. You're always welcome to come on a Monday, mate. Just because your team's not in the league doesn't matter. You can still come. I'm trying not to make any connotation to that sentence I just dropped out. So Brighton Forest, I did struggle with a manager being sent off for encroaching the pitch. And then you have like Arteta who doesn't know that there's a technical. So that I struggle with that a little bit. But and there's Hannah. Hello, hope you're doing well. I mean, who wants to hit me up on Brighton Forest? Because I don't know. I'm on the wane now. So who wants to hit me up and tell me about it?
There's any chance you saw it, Rebecca? Because it was on my list to look at today, and then I got a bit distracted with FCA stuff, so I haven't actually seen the Nottingham Forest game.
It was just a bit chaotic. I think that's the easiest way to describe it. I mean, both teams have remained undefeated in the league. I don't think either of them have lost yet. So it was going to be, like, you go into it thinking, it could be a very good tie, and they proved that it was. I didn't expect it to be as mad as it was. I mean, both managers being sent off, and then Gibbs White will be a huge miss for them in the next match. I mean, him being sent off is one of the ones that Forest can't afford to be missing at all. But yeah, it was as a neutral, it was a decent one. That's all I got out of it.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Welbeck still scoring goals. I still can't get over how he's still functioning. I'm playing football at quite a good level. Although I will say, I'm not sure if you saw the goal, Sam. It was a free kick that wasn't saved. It was. I mean, did you see? It was basically lined the wall up, and he stood on the inside of the wall. So Welbeck went, all right, I just kicked it right around the wall, straight into that corner, and he just missed it entirely. What was going on there? That's just silly, isn't it?
It's a good kick.
Yeah, he's clever. Well, but he used to remember with United in the early days. He used to have a long strike on him. He scored a couple of long range goals for us back in the early days. And you got to be. He's one of those. I don't think gets the respect he deserves. I think he's had there was a period at United he wasn't going to be the guy in the top, and actually I think we missed him when we let him go, because we let him go when we got Falcao in that season. Which could have been something at the time was magical and didn't turn out that way. But yeah, I think he did bits at Arsenal, and Brighton's really worked out for him. And he scores goals. He just picks goals up. And I always see people, they laugh. Some people have Danny Welbeck in their fantasy team, and then a few weeks later they're like, he's like scoring every week. He's a consideration.
I'm tossing it between him and the other striker at Brighton, whose name just escaped me. Pedro.
But he was injured, and now he's got injured again. So I don't know. What's happened to Evan Ferguson, by the way? Does anyone know what's happened to Evan Ferguson? He came on the scene, didn't he? And it's kind of had a really rough 12 months.
I don't really. He was on the bench.
On the bench, but he's not featured. I don't know if it's the new manager doesn't fancy him, or
maybe he's just. I mean, he's 9. Maybe he was flashing in the pan, perhaps. I mean, Hannah is saying he was injured, so he must just be coming back. I know he was injured for a big portion of the end of last season.
Yeah, because and I know that when he's playing, he went to that long barrel without scoring, didn't he? So
yeah, and he's 19, so he maybe he's the. But I'm with you on Danny Welbeck. He's just just quietly do. I love the fact in Brighton you've got like Lallana, James Milner, and Danny Welbeck, who are like good
Lallana's
English
gone,
players.
isn't he? He's at Southampton now.
Is he gone? But I like the fact that they brought in that sort of mindset. Lewis Dunk as well, like this sort of solid, dependable, player that just does this stuff quietly without making any fuss. And I like Brighton.
He's 30. Welbeck is now 33, and he has 100 career goals. So he's been at Brighton now for. He's a Centurion. I don't think he's a Premier League Centurion because this is includes a couple of goals for Preston and Sunderland. But Brighton. He's now been there. This is his 5th season there.
I bet he loves it.
If he follows in Ashley Young's footsteps, they've got him for another quite a few years.
Yeah, Ashley Young's footsteps. He'd be there for another 15, wouldn't he? At least.
He's won a Premier League as well. He's a Premier League champion.
Yeah, I do quite like him. I love a bit of Matoma as well. I do love a bit of Matoma. I just think they were just a nice team. And but Forest played some good football as well. It was a good game of football. I think both clubs, I enjoyed what they were doing, to be fair. And I do I love them both getting the managers sent off. That was brilliant because they're like scrabbling for people to interview after the game because Nuno was like, "Nah, I ain't coming out." And the Brighton manager was like, "No, I ain't coming out." So I'm sure they had like one of the technical staff came out for like Brighton. It was just bizarre. It was just bizarre. And look at Hannah's just dropped us another sub in because she realised. Oh, look at that! She's sub. Which it must bring us closer. Is this 2-2? Is this Desmond?
They haven't. Oh, Morecambe on it.
Is that the Morecambe game? Because you can't just drop a Desmond on us without letting us know who it is, Graham.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, my days, my April fruit days. And Rebecca, you obviously won't know what April fruits are.
Isn't that Starburst?
Hey, look at that. There's some culture about the gill yet that you know. Do not despair. That's all. I don't feel quite. I love. Is it? It is. It is indeed. There's other just 2 results I just wanted to highlight very quickly. Aston Villa, Duran. He just loves it, and he doesn't like scoring until right at the end of the game, does he? What's that all about? Samuel.
He's a super sub. I think we touched on him last week and said I think he was 8 goals. He's only started 3 Premier League games. It's now 9. Wow. He's had 3 Premier League. He's 3 winning goals this season, and then still gets another one at the end of this one. He's just inevitable. He's just he's becoming the go-to sub. Villa are having to rescue games a little bit, but I think for them, off the back of the Champions League, because that's been the question I think everyone's had, how will they manage that? So a really good win. They're going to have tougher tests, let's be honest, in the Champions League than the young boys. But they coped with it well, came back into the game. Morgan Rogers, excellent. I thought really, really well played. Nice to see him get some assists because he's been on the verge of no goals and assists, but playing really well, deserved it. And again, another one from a dream to me. Esri Konsa, you little beauty, late on in injury time. It was looking a bit shaky at the weekend, and then up he pops. 3 bonus points as well. Thank you very much. So loved a bit of Konsa at the weekend. And yeah, they've started the season really, 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 really well. And I love Unai Emery's celebrations on the touchline. It's just like that kind of granddaddy, fist pumping down the line. You can't beat it.
He's good, isn't he? He is a bit class. He is a bit of class. And I think Jen's enjoying the Morecambe game.
It's time for a winner. Jen. Go for it.
88th minute, play to the end, play to the whistle. And Wolves struggling a bit. Rebecca, you must be glad to see Wolves not winning the game. That must make you happy as an Everton fan.
Although we are only above them because of alphabetical order, we have the exact same stats as them across the whole of the everything possible. So we are only above them because we come first in the alphabet. But I'll take it. We're not at bottom.
You gotta take what you can. And dancing, John Duran has it all. The reflex, hungry like a wolf in the box. And in ordinary world, he's class. I nearly spoiled it then because I couldn't breathe.
Just the culture, the culture of the man that is Dan.
Just what a hero. And Graham said, never underestimate alphabetical order. Be grateful. And Bob Boy said he'll take it too. He'll take it too. I mean, the last game I did want to touch on before we sort of wrap around you up and then bugger off for the evening was Fulham 3, Newcastle 1. Fulham are silently becoming a very solid, dependable team. I mean, Sam, did you catch that one?
I did see bits of that one. Yeah, I feel they're like the silent assassins, aren't they? Just get on about their business quietly and kind of then, pick up the table. They lost to United on the opening day, and since then done pretty well. 2 wins, 2 draws, and the Newcastle game. What's quite interesting is, and this could be really worrying. This either means the apocalypse or we're all in trouble. Adama Traore has started to produce an end product, which is possibly one of the most scariest things that could be. The absolute speed merchant, powerful man that he is with his baby oil is now starting to produce when he gets into the penalty box. So I think he's got a goal, couple of assists now. He's dangerous. Raul Jimenez has suddenly remembered that score as well. That's helping.
That was a nice goal, wasn't it? I love that when they take it on the chest and they go,
"Oh, really good."
Oh, I love it.
It's an. I think they've also just added some really nice things to that team. I think Smith Rowe is a really good signing, and he's flourishing there. He's going to become like the man. I think he needed that to become the man there. Anderson at centre back, I think that was a really good take from Crystal Palace. Tete's looked really good. Him and Traore down that right hand side are producing really well. And then you've got people like Muniz, Reece Nelson's been on the fringe as well. So there's players that have got opportunities, and Fulham seem to give them that, a bit like they did with Andreas Pereira. Those players get the opportunity to flourish. And we've said it for ages. Fulham are kind of just that real sturdy, difficult mid-table team. And fair play to them. I mean, stats-wise, they look really good so far this season in kind of all areas. So, I'm pleased. I'm pleased for Fulham. My granddad is a Fulham fan, so I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, and Marco Silva's sort of redeeming himself a little bit because I thought he was absolute dog posh. But he's sort of proving the doubters wrong a little. I don't know what's clicking or what's working, but doesn't look like an awful hapless manager there, does he? I mean, Rebecca, though, Newcastle, what do you reckon's happening?
Wheels are falling off. It's not working for him at the moment. I mean, fair play to Fulham. I think Alex Iwobi got an assist. So.
And can we just comment on Alex Iwobi's hair game that he's going on at the moment? I haven't watched a lot of Fulham this season, but I did check it out. I was like, that is some, as a man who is follically challenged, that is some beautiful hair that he's got going on there, isn't it?
Very good. Very good.
And you think Eddie Howe's got long to live at Newcastle, as in career-wise? I'm not wishing anything on anything.
No, I don't think he'll have long left as manager. Just thought I'd clarify. No, I think if things like we all know what Newcastle can do, and we know the squad that they've got, and it is a very strong side. And I feel as though if you can't get them producing the results that we know they can do, then it will be time for him to go.
I mean, Glenn said it's a shame Fulham got knocked out of the League Cup as they could have gone a good run. They got creativity and goals. And Leno, there we are.
Made the semis. Is it semi-finals they made last year? They almost made it, didn't they, to the final? Yeah.
And I like the League Cup for stuff like that. I think like teams like Man City, Arsenal, they should just bugger off and just let everyone else have a go and make it more interesting. And like I say, Jimenez has just sort of rekindled some form, and it's lovely to see. And Jen said, "Love Smith Rowe, can't deny that." Graham thinks I've got the Eddie Howe voodoo doll. I genuinely, I think the sort of time has come, and he's sort of peaked. I think he's peaked, and he just doesn't know how to get that next bit. What else did I just see there? Graham said, "That's how Morecambe scored their second goal with a one of them." That would have been beautiful to see. Yeah, well done, Fulham. I really enjoyed their bits. I've enjoyed them. Chelsea won a game of football. West Ham, weren't they garbage? Oh my God,
what is going on with West Ham?
Oh my God.
Lopetegui's in trouble, isn't he? Like, what is going on there? I thought summer-wise they didn't do the worst business, but it's just. Did you see Bowen's interview afterwards?
Yeah,
He just looked
gone.
like he just looked sick of it all. You know, like we don't know what's happening. They were a mess. I mean, that Nicholas Jackson first goal. I mean, there's more. There was spaces you could drive buses through.
I know.
It was just
Yeah.
an utter
I
mess.
could have run that defense. I could have done them. I could have been past them all day long. I'm struggling to walk up and down the stairs to the toilet, you know, and I could have passed it through that defense.
One thing that just made me laugh was I think I seen an interview with Chelsea manager for their next match, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to have to rotate the squad. You've got a 70-man squad. I don't think it's going to be that hard to rotate your squad."
Squad depth is not your biggest issue.
You've got more issues than that.
It must be like a rolling a tombola picking the Chelsea squad. But I watched a video the other day, and it was from when David Moyes was at West Ham. And, you know, West Ham players might not like the style. And, you know, you might have to be a manager with a certain style, but I've been your manager that wins the most.
Yeah. Do you remember we had that conversation? I think it was we were having it with Russ, weren't we? Russ Budden when he was on with us. And it was at the time just before the conference, and we were talking about Moyes. And I remember having the conversation, we were saying, there's going to become a point where if they pull it, is it better that with what you have that you're going to go chasing something else, and it could get worse? And it seems at the minute, I mean, new manager, you have to give it time and see what happens, but early signs aren't really going well, are they?
And it's like we've said about other teams before and other fan bases, know who you are. You need to understand sometimes who your team are and where you sit in the league, and you can make progress. But if you're performing well, it doesn't make sense just to make a move because you don't like a certain manager. And grass isn't always greener. I'm glad to say West Ham on the phone to Moyes saved their season again. Best get in there before Everton do. You know what? I'd love them to ring Moyes and say we need you to come back, and for him just to go.
I'd love it to be at the same time as Everton were ringing. They're both phones. He goes, "Oh, West Ham here, Everton here," and he's just playing them off, going, who holds all the cards now? Yeah?
As he holds both phones together, so they're just talking to each other. Like he's just sat there loving life as they think they're actually signing more.
Sat on his beach with his pina colada.
I was expecting your call. I bet all of your fans will be. Is it a nice style of football, though? You might be losing, but what's the style like? That's what it's all about. Yeah, Chelsea winning it. That was silly. It was a silly game. But let's take a look what that does to the table, shall we, ladies and merry gentlemen? So Man City are still top. They are indeed. But second is Liverpool, and then Aston Villa, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Chelsea, I thought, were completely washed. Only 5 games in, though. Let's see what happens. But it's the points wise. There's like 3 points separating 6th and 1st, which I know it's still early days, but tight like a tiger. Some of the other games that we did miss was Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1.
That was a late equaliser that could hurt Southampton in the long run. Really hurt them.
It's tight, very tight. And Spurs won 3-1 as they continue their journey in Postecoglou's second season, where he's going to win something. But that's just what he does. The man just wins something every second year. And anything interesting? Does anyone want to point out in that table? I don't want to mention the relegation zone because I just feel bad on because that's a solitary point for the 3 teams.
But it's not far off. Look at that. I mean, all the way up to Leicester. Leicester have only got 3 points, so one win and suddenly it's looking really a lot better, isn't it? But
I just can't see us winning, though.
Palace next weekend. Palace at home. There's a chance against Palace. They play like they played against us last week. There's a chance against Palace.
Yeah, they've been poo.
I thought that with Bournemouth, and then you're like, hey, we get 2-0 up and then get beat.
But it's Man City followed by Liverpool and Aston Villa, Arsenal, Chelsea in 5th, and then Newcastle are still in 6th. Even though they've not been performing brilliantly in a couple of games, they're still winning some. So they are
third last week. I was talking to Lucas about it and saying, how are they third? They just kind of snuck in there and then that's only their first loss. They're unbeaten. If they'd have won, they'd have gone top. That's crazy.
It is a bizarre time. Brighton in 7th, Nottingham Forest in 8th, Fulham in 9th, and Spurs in 10th. He's going to struggle to win. So what cup do you think he's going to win? in his second season, incidentally, Samuel, because I don't know what they're in Europa League.
He could win an Absolute Football Podcast Cup if he enters our competition before we get to 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, my days.
He's got a chance, but he needs to get in quick because we've got 6 subscribers to go, and then it's closed. It's closed. Everybody in gets a chance to win that cup. But yeah, he's got more chance of that than anything else, let's be honest.
Well, and as we said, down the bottom, it is very toyed like a toiger. 5 points separating 12th and 20th. So just don't get too worked up, everybody. Just calm down. Just stay calm. It's okay.
We're just looking it upside down, and I feel a lot happier.
Yeah, but we'd all know that it's a lie then. Because Graham's loving the segue. Loving the segue. 6 subscribers to go. Indeed. And La Liga. Anything interesting? There was a British player scoring goals in the Liga, Sam, wasn't there?
Was there? I'll be honest, my La Liga following this year has been poo so far. I need to do a little bit more. So let me just bring up some results.
It's starting to turn back into like old La Liga with Barcelona and Real Madrid beating everyone.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the Atletico game ended in, but Conor Gallagher scored.
They're loving him over there. I did see like Antoine Griezmann singing about him. So he's obviously like, they 1-1 it ended with Rayo Vallecano. But elsewhere, what's happened in La Liga? Barcelona with a 5-1 victory over Villarreal. Lewandowski still scoring goals. What a striker that man's been.
And he's about 42 now, isn't he?
Oh, he's about that, isn't he? He's about 42. So Barca have won all 6 games so far this season, punting Villarreal 5-1. Jose Perez for Villarreal, may remember him from Newcastle, but they got a punting. And Real Madrid won as well. They got 4. Kylian Mbappe did score a penalty. Vinicius Jr. was on the goal scoring sheet as well. So they're starting to, as you said, it's those two starting to run away a little bit with it again. Any shocks elsewhere? Valencia beat Girona. Girona, a bit of a mid-table season, but they are in the Champions League, so they've got some stuff to look forward to for that. Valencia needed that because, look, they're down the bottom again, struggling. As are Sevilla. Sevilla lost again, didn't they? The old retirement home of Sevilla. I say that. I don't know who's in their squad now, so it could be completely wrong. It's probably the most youthful team in La Liga, but that's what we used to call them. So they lost to Alaves. And Athletic Bilbao, they've done very well so far this season. They're sat in 3rd place with a 3-1 win over Celta Vigo with 2 goals from Gorka Guzeta. Beautiful name for a beautiful man, no doubt.
Indeed. And look who's in the chat, Claire. She's been in the gym this evening. Today, what is it, Monday? So Monday it was back and buys and a bit of traps, I think, for Claire today as she's pumping the iron in there. Back and buys, chest and tries.
I can just see she's just there going, stop, pull.
So she'll be on treadmill ready to pitch invade again at the end of the season.
This is
again, the legs are running.
That's on a Tuesday. Tuesday's cardio and legs, you know.
Just on the treadmill. Do. Louis Barry.
She got a dress. She's got a dress to look good in, and that's why she's working on the traps as well, just to lift it up so the shoulder pads look extra good as well. You got to get a nice set of traps. I'm sure that's the key to any dress looking good on anyone. Sevilla, I don't know what happened in Sevilla. Torino are top. What is this? Torino are top. It's just madness, absolutely madness. Napoli are in second. Napoli, which one are Napoli? Napoli, the one that have now picked up Lukaku, which is just lovely to see. Udinese in third. That's like taking me back like 15 years with Udinese.
Well, the legends coming back, isn't it? The legends of Serie A past.
Talking of legends, I saw a video the other day of the AC Milan Pomp team with Gattuso, Seedorf, Maldini, Nesta, Cafu, Dida, Shevchenko, Crespo, Kaká, Pirlo. And do you know what?
That was a good old team.
That was a team. And do you know what, Sam? We beat them. They're good enough for Liverpool. But what a time to be alive. just slipping that one in there. It's very bad. So AC Milan beat Inter.
I'm just looking through actually this Torino team. I was on an internet go slow. Carry on. I'm probably 10 seconds behind.
I wanted to know about Torino. You just said this Torino team, and then it went.
You want to know about Torino?
Yeah, I'm quite excited.
I think I'm back. So I was just looking through their team name, and they got bloody Che Adams starting up front for them. when did that happen? I know he wasn't at Southampton, but Che Adams, Serie A superstar.
I like a bit of that. As I said the other, I like when some of the English players, instead of just sitting on a bench somewhere or doing the middle of the team, go play in Italy, go play in Spain. Lengthen your career by playing slightly easier football in a country that's easier on the old joints. Now, Treaty is saying Seedorf's son used to play for us. Now, which team is us now? Because you mentioned supporting United earlier.
Was he at Bradford? Seedorf's son at Bradford, was he? That would be an incredible.
But cool. That would be cool. And Graham was saying up the utility FC. So how did Lecky do? Where's all
2-2?
Lecky 2-2.
Desmond for Lecky. There you go.
Oh, lovely. And Treaty said this is Bradford. It is Bradford. Oh, fair play. Where the heart lies at Bradford. Actually, before we get the Bundesliga, who's at the bottom? Cagliari at the bottom. Como and Monza. Venezia are 17th. Hopefully they stay because they do lovely kits. And those kits deserve to be in Serie A, don't they, Sam?
They do. Beautiful kits in Serie A, including this one from last season. I love
they do. Serie A kits. It's just beautiful. And I'm just going to have to pause. I'm about to splatter my guts up. But over in the Bundesliga, goals for Bayern. I think was it five goals they scored? Yeah, 5 goals against Werder Bremen. 16 goals that they scored at the moment. Who would have thought it's easier to manage Bayern Munich than it is Burnley? Who thought it?
Who knew it? Who knew it?
Who knew? I mean, and Leverkusen, they're struggling on. They've lost a game. Their invincibility has gone. They have lost one game. And the game this week, I can't remember who they played, but I know they scored in like the 90th. It was all bony face. Against Wolfsburg, there it is, 4-3. Old bony face scored in at the 94th minute. So they really had to hang on in this. They're still showing that dogged determination, but they are struggling. And Spenny fans is always scoring with the late goals. They are. Late Kusen. Spenny fans. Chris is good. And I remember like in the first part of the season, Hoffenheim. There it was. After the first game, they were top. That's not happening now. Hoffenheim lost 2-1 to Union Berlin. Union Berlin, who are sort of in 6th, middle into the top of the table, which is nice to see. I'm glad they managed to survive. Well done, Union Berlin. That's not how you pronounce it, by the way, because it's German, but it just sounds sexier, doesn't it? In German, it's probably like Union Berlin. That's probably how it's actually pronounced. But that hurt my throat. That really gave me a load of shit then. But yeah, so Harry Kane's still banging goals in for days. He's just who knew playing in a good team would just make it easier to score more goals. Just who knew? Who knew? But as we've got at the moment that the table it's not breaking away massively. It's still quite tight. With Bayern Munich at the top on 12 points, who are 3 points ahead of Leverkusen on 9, with the same points of Freiburg, with the same points of Eintracht Frankfurt, who are 1 point ahead of Leipzig, who are the same points of Union Berlin, who are 1 point ahead of Stuttgart, who are on the same points as Dortmund, who are 1 point ahead of Heidenheim, who are 1 point ahead of Mainz, who are the same points of Werder Bremen, who are 1 point ahead of Augsburg, who are 1 point ahead of Wolfsburg, with the same points as Mönchengladbach, and the same points as Hoffenheim. We're 2 points ahead of Bochum, on the same points as Pauli, and at the bottom, Holstein. That's a beer, isn't it? Holstein.
It is. It's a beer. They used to sponsor Tottenham, didn't they? Once upon a time, Holstein.
That's probably why they're bottom of the table. Then that'll teach them. SPFL. These aren't all the games that were played. I think they've only played like one set of games this weekend from this match week, and there was some from the previous. I believe that was being played, but Rebecca. Aberdeen, Dundee, one of those are yours. Do you want to tell us what happened to one of those teams that you support up there?
Dundee. They were playing in the Scottish Cup on Saturday against Rangers and unfortunately got beat 3-0. It is a bit of a rough patch at the moment for Dundee. They are massively missing Luke McCowan, who has gone to Celtic. Incredible signing for Celtic and Luke McCowan, but he is massively missed at Dundee. But if Dundee want to start playing Ryan Astley anytime soon, then I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
Come on,
Your
bitches.
defence is a bit off, so just shove him in. Why not?
Just do it.
He did play for the reserve team today, along with quite a few of the other first team, including Seb Palmer-Holden. So hopefully they've played him today to get fitness back up, and then he might be in the team on Saturday.
Oh, and Treaty's loving a bit of Ryan Astley. Never going to give him up or let you down. Claire's giving you some shit here. Becca 10 teams.
I've got 3. I draw the line at 3.
She loves you really, though. At least they're in like different leagues and stuff, though. So yeah, and Graham saying Ryan Astley not as good as Rick. But, you can take what you can. And Eredivisie, it's just what a fun league. PSV, I mean, you think Bayern Munich are scoring goals? Well, no way, Jose. PSV 23 goals in 6 games. What the living bejesus is going on there? They won 3-1 against Fortuna Sittard this week. And Hervin won 2-1 against Groningen. And Almere City 0, Twente 5. Feyenoord won 2-0 against Vida. And Utrecht won 3-2 against William, who knows? And Warwick lost 2-1 to Sparta Rotterdam. Oh, anyway, and Go Ahead Eagles drew 1-1 with Ajax, and NEC that team, they lost 2-1 to Hercules, and Zwolle lost 2-1 to Ahzed Ahmar. And sadly, though, very sadly, Warwick, bottom of the table, 6 losses. 17 goals conceded and only 3 scored. I mean, bloody hell. Sort it out, lads.
Not good. Come on, Warwick.
And the last League So League I was going to start cutting off PSG, but they're not top.
Monaco.
They're not top. Monaco are top, beating Le Havre 3-1 on the weekend. Hopefully, PSG, if they want to lose a game, or lose a few, make it interesting, or just, leave the league and make it more intriguing. That would be wonderful. But Monaco, they are top. Long may it continue. And and Spenny Fan Chris has pointed out something I did want to touch on. Andy Carroll made his debut for Bordeaux. I believe he scored twice. And I believe it was twice. And the second goal was the equaliser for Bordeaux in Ligue 2. I'm assuming that's French for 2, isn't it?
I'm not even further down. Did they get relegated to like 4 or something? Where did Bordeaux got well whacked? They got wild wicked. Wild wicked down the league.
I did see. I didn't think they were that far down, Bordeaux. I thought they sure in League. I think you're right. They might be like Ligue 4. Not saying.
Girondin de Bon. I'm having a look.
9, 12.
They are in. They are. They're in Championnat National 2.
And they do 2-2 with Chatterbox. No, with Chateaubriand.
Chateaubriand.
Chateauneuf.
Chateaubriand, isn't that? That's a bit of meat, isn't it? That's a lovely bit of Chateaubriand.
I thought Del Boy was selling that from the van. Yeah, look at that. Me and Graham, we're like one mind. Chateaubriand. Yeah. So Angers, don't look back in Angers because they're bottom of the league. And Saint Etienne are down there as well. And Axure, isn't that like the port where you plug your headphones in on the TV in 16th place? Yeah.
the Angers port.
Who knows? But Lyon and Montpellier makes me sad to see and Toulouse, big teams down there.
Am I reading that result? Nice beat Saint Etienne 8-0. Is that the one at the bottom there?
That was nice.
Wow.
Ooh, that's very nice, very nice.
Nice, very nice. But yeah, that's football. That's European football. Completed it. Done. Completed.
I know.
We finished football. Top flight football all across Europe is done. Are you trying to say something, Rebecca?
All I want to say is my say do not win the league because I cannot be doing with Neil Maupay again.
Neil Maupay. He's just a beautiful man. He's just a beautiful man. But look at that. I said before the show, it's going to be a quick one, peeps, because I'm absolutely like hammered turds. Hour 45. What is going on? I've just got no self-control. That's what it is. I don't feel well. All my self-control is gone. Sam, everyone wants you. Where are you? And you're poorly groin. If you need to make it better, where are you? Where can they find you?
Where am I? Recuperating, recuperating. Waiting for me. So I am on Twitter at Sam Absolute FBL. And I am on TikTok at Sam Absolute FBL and at Sam Absolute EFL. So it's EFL for EFL content and FBL for other Premier League and stuff content. So I'm there on TikTok and on YouTube on both of those. So it's just all going on. But if you, main place is on the old Twitterville at Sam Absolute FBL and doing the Absolute Football podcast and many wonderful things we have ready to come up and stuff. We might do some more all about episodes because they were fun, weren't they? We'll do some more of them soon.
Indeed we shall. And Rebecca, the _ queen, where art thou?
Find me here, Rebecca. Well, _Rebecca _short_. And that is on Twitter and TikTok. You can find my Her Game 2 content at ASFC Her Game 2. And then if you want to join in with any F1, 2 and 3 fun, then you can join us at Girls in the Grandstand, where you can hear me go on and on and on about Franco Colapinto.
So make sure you do check him out, because who doesn't want to hear Rebecca go on and on and on? It's a joy. It's a joy. And the big thing, follow the pod, baby. Follow the pod on the old Twitter arty at Absolute Ball Pod. And if you're on YouTube, as Benny fan Chris said, we're so close. We're so close. So close. You can almost reach out and touch us. It is free to subscribe on YouTube. So why not? Just do it. It's a hoot. You'll feel a better person for it. You'll hit subscribe and something wonderful will happen in your life. Like you'll win a tombola or a raffle at your child's school play. Something great like that will just happen. You know, you'll avoid getting splashed by a car in the puddle as we hit autumn. So just do it. You'll love it. And on the TikTok boom at Absolute Football Pod and Instagram Absolute Football Podcast _ as it is on Threads and on Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast. On Monday, of course, this evening, it is all Top Flight Football, and on Wednesday is #Team Chaos. All things women's football. If you like women's football, if you don't, but you want to learn, check them out, because they are all there. They shall educate you and you shall have a hoot of a time as it happens. And on Thursday, it is Charlotte Rowdy Wabble, the award winner. They've already won one award. They're up for another one on Thursday, absolutely lower league. And of course, as Sam said earlier, please do head over to the FCA, the Football Content Awards. Go on to vote. We are Best New Content Creator, Best in Women's Football Creator, and Best in Non-League Creator. Please jump over there, show us some love, and hit that voting button. Just do it, please. I'm on my way out. And just remember that God loves you. Sam and Rebecca loves you. And over 50 billion hamburgers are eaten in the US every year. TTFN and ta-ta for now.